Hi, I'm Tim Roble, and thank you for joining me for part 3 of my KTM 950 Supermoto to Super Enduro conversion. I want to recap my theory real quick and then show you where we're going with this video. My theory on building a performance-based or a custom-built motorcycle is about the same. I like to lose weight, make as few pieces as possible, make it easy to work on, well suspended, make it go fast and stop fast. With the other little exception is I like to armor it up so I get back. So sometimes you'll see me do radiator guards, bar ends, and a skid plate. And I feel that's kind of necessary for myself to get a motorcycle back home, especially when you're off-road. So this next product I've done a ton of research on, and why I pulled the trigger on the CPR Fabrications Rottweiler Air Cleaner System was I get rid of this huge air box. So I lose about 3.5 pounds off this motorcycle in its current condition. If you got a totally stock motorcycle, you're going to lose about 6.5 pounds. I chose this because I think foam does a way better job of filtering the air than a paper or a K&N type element. So I got the foam, and I also opted to get the pre-filter with it. So I was down to a couple of different models and I was looking at, and some were just a cheap knockoff off of this one, and I decided, never buy a knockoff because you just don't get the quality or the engineering and design that went into the original. Why I settled on this one was it has a poly lower base on it, and between that and an aluminum version, any of us that are welders know that aluminum is a heat sink. And basically, once the motor heats up, it's going to come up into this. And my findings were this was about 40 degrees cooler than the aluminum. To me, that totally makes sense. You look at an OEM dirt bike, everything's plastic on it. It's not aluminum. So we got plastic, we got the foam element, and I have a pre-filter. I get to lose 3.5 pounds, and I get to make it easier to work on. So please join me as I take you through the process of installing this cool filter. And we'll get this on the motorcycle, get it jetted, and next couple of weeks when I finish all the rest of the mods, we'll get it out on the trail and get you some good GoPro footage. So please join me. So as per the instructions, the first thing you're going to want to do on this is take the check valve out of here that goes to here. So you remove the hose, take the check valve out, you're going to take it apart, and you're going to install it in the exact same direction that it was going into the airbox originally, into this piece. So that's part one. There's the extra parts on the ground, and as we come up you can see I've laid a towel over the intake ports, and I have the carbs upside down so I can pull the bowls to check the jetting. Took a quick break in filming and went in and ordered the Factory Pro jet kit. As soon as I pulled the rear jets and started looking at the parts that I had on hand, I just didn't have everything I needed, so I thought I would go ahead and order the kit. Highly recommend you do this from the beginning. So anyway, back to jetting our carburetors and what's going on here. I'm already done with the rear cylinder, and for the main jet, which is located right here, I did a 180 for the rear, and I'm going to do a 175 in the front. This right here is your pilot jet. Stock is a 42, and I'm bumping that up to a 45. And then the air screw, I went ahead and checked those, and I am 2.5 turns out. I flipped the car back over, and now we're trying to gain access to the needle. So I've pulled this cover, 4 screws, and then I've just kind of went through and gently pulled this cover off, and we'll slip this out, which gives us access to the slide. And see if we can get this good on camera. And this right here would be your retaining cover, and you work that off. That'll come off like this. And I've already installed our new needle, and we'll pop this up, and there's a little washer that sits on top of the clip. And we'll remove this, and basically I'm in the 3rd position, and this goes on top, and then you'll put it right back from the position that you came from, which is the center hole, and it'll only go back together really one way, but it'll save you some work. So we get that there, then we'll take our retainer, we'll slip it down in place, and then that locks down. And we'll just kind of install this, and we'll make sure that this gasket gets back in place, and then we'll bolt it back together. On the right we have our KTM factory needle, and on the left is the factory Pro needle, and you can see there's quite a bit of difference in the profiles. Now it's time to install our X-ring gaskets. I've already got the front installed, and to put those on you just simply get those in place, and now I'll take and temporarily set this on top of here, and we'll start looking at new routing for the crankcase breather. Here's our crankcase breather, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this out here, and I'm going to reroute it, trying to pay attention not to get in the way of any of the throttle cables, and get that up in place. Kind of a hard angle to see, but here's our breather, and basically I'm going to sneak up on it. It says to take between 1 and 2 inches off. I'm going to take about 1.5 and then see where we are from there. Okay, I got that in place with the clip, and it seems to be a pretty decent fit. So we'll take this plate and kind of get it down into place. And then we'll take these velocity stacks and get those installed. And these basically work as a keeper to keep everything in place. It's actually a really slick design. I got the crankcase breather tube right here trimmed, and it's facing right into the #1 cylinder. Now time to oil up the filter and get it installed, and we'll start putting this thing back together. I have the nose oil all rubbed in and got this all prepped. I prepped the base with the grease and got that set up. And basically, to put this filter on the base plate, it goes down in place and it slips underneath. And these are all recessed, so your quick disconnects, actually, if they don't reach, you haven't done something right. So make sure it's down, push it over to place. It's got a nice recess. Everything goes into place really nice. That's it for the installation of the Rottweiler Air Intake System on my KTM 950 Supermoto to Super Enduro conversion. I really felt that this install was pretty straightforward, so hopefully this will help you if you are going to buy one of these units, help you go through it just as a video process to show you how easy it is and just the process that it took to get there. So I'm Tim Roble, and I'd like to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you here next time.